I am Eileen Doherty, and I am the director of the Colorado Gerontological Society. And I apologize for kind of the lateness of this presentation, but we want to take a look today at property tax and how basically to use the property tax referral program. So we'll look a little bit at the basics of the program, the lien, how to apply for it, and then some of the frequently asked questions. So I think we all know that property taxes are rising. Andrew Kenney from Colorado Public Radio suggested, based on some of his research last fall, that there was going to be a 40% jump in value. And so the question then of the home, so the question then became or becomes, does that also mean that there will be a 40% increase in taxes? And the short answer to that is no, not exactly, because those are not dollar for dollar changes or increases. However, it is absolutely correct that if the value of your home does increase, then you will also at the same time see an increase in property taxes. Additionally, what happens many times in terms of increases in property taxes is that there will be some type of a bond issue or other local driven tax increase for, say, a library increase or a school board increase or something like that. So while the county assessment for the property taxes, which primarily funds schools and local governments, while that increases, oftentimes we also see an increase in the overall property taxes because of bond issues. In Colorado, the average increase of a home in the past several years was about 37%, but that is an average. In counties like Pitkin, it increased by 80%. In some other counties, it was less. Some Colorado counties will cap the percent of the property tax and how much it can rise, but that's not the usual case. We will find that the counties that are more conservative will more frequently put those caps in place. Those are also the counties that more frequently do not, if you will, pass a bond issue for increases in school funding or libraries or fire districts or whatever. So residential values in Colorado have risen approximately 150% since 2010. And so over the last 15 years, that represents about a 55% growth in inflation. The median income, again, or value of a home in Colorado is $465,900. And I know some people may be in small towns in Colorado and say my house isn't worth that amount of money. But a couple years ago, I did kind of a random just calling local communities in even rural counties and found that it was not uncommon for, even in small towns, a home to just be, you know, in the $200,000, $250,000, $300,000 range. So again, small towns are not necessarily immune to the increase in property values that we're seeing in some of the more major metropolitan areas. Our biggest challenge at this stage of the game with all of that is that Social Security is not rising at anywhere near that level. So in 2024, Social Security went up by 3.2%. So what that means is that if you were getting $1,000 a month in Social Security, you basically got a $32 increase. Whereas if you looked at your property taxes, it was probably a much more significant increase year over year. The property tax deferral program then was put into place a number of years ago when the now mayor of Aurora, Mike Kaufman, was the Secretary of Treasurer of the state of Colorado. The Colorado Gerontological Society worked very closely with, at that point in time, Treasurer Kaufman to get this initiative passed. What we realized a long time ago is that there were people who were losing their homes simply because they could not pay the property taxes, and their home then went to a tax sale. So the program as it currently sets is available for people 65 and over by December 31st of the current year. So if you're applying for a property tax deferral for the 2023 tax year, with the taxes being paid in 2024, then you have to be 65 on or before December 31, 2023. The same deferral has also been extended to active military personnel. So if you know someone who is currently in the military and who is not able to pay their property taxes, this may be something that would be available for them as well. If they were in the military by January 1 of 2023. If you want to defer a portion of your real estate property tax, then you can do this in, you have to meet these criteria. So if the individual exceeds the property tax growth cap of 4%, averaged from the preceding 2 years, then basically you can defer as minimum as $100 and a maximum of amount of up to $10,000. When we were working with Treasurer Kaufman, we set this number really, really high, but I'm not so sure that in the next few years, we might have to revisit that, because I think in some of our neighborhoods where people are not necessarily or the value of their property is growing exponentially, we may have to increase that amount. But that's what it is in statute at the moment. What the deferral program allows you to do is basically to pay your taxes at some future date. And the way that works is that the state will put a lien on your property. So you are going to owe the state money at the point in time when the title changes, or you sell your house, or if you pass away. You can apply for the property tax deferral as well as the senior homestead tax exemption program and have both of those in effect at the same time. As a matter of fact, I would highly recommend that if you are eligible for one or both of these programs, that you apply for both of them. The senior homestead exemption, I'll just mention that for a quick moment. You do have to apply by July 1 of this year, 2024, to get a reduction in your 2024 taxes, which you would pay in 2025. So if you don't currently have the senior homestead exemption, it won't do you any good for your 23 taxes, but it could help you, or it would help you in 2024. To qualify for the senior homestead property tax exemption, you must again be 65 in 2024, and you have to have lived in your home for 10 years or more. If you meet you have to meet both of those criteria. Both individuals in the home do not have to be 65. Only one person has to be 65. And if you qualify for it, and your spouse is significantly younger than you are, and you pass away, the exemption continues until your spouse passes away. So the way that this lien is set up, if you will, is just like any other loan that you would get. So if you got a loan when you first bought your house as a mortgage, it looks just like that kind of a lien. Or if you refinanced, or if you have a home equity loan, any of those kinds of loans, this property tax deferral program will show up as the same type of loan. There is interest charged on the lien, and those rates do vary. At this point in time, they're a little bit high because, again, the statute allows for the rates to be 2% over prime. So if prime is now, give or take, somewhere between 6 and 7%, then this would be somewhere between 8 and 9%. Some people will tell me that that's very expensive money, and I would agree with that. However, the alternative, if you have no other source of money, is that your house ultimately would go to a tax sale. And even if you end up having this deferral on your property for 8 or 10 years, and you owe the state $30,000 or $40,000, that is still, you still have protected your equity, and you'll get the balance of the sale price of your house minus this lien or this loan, and unless you have other loans on your property as well. The state does insist that they will be the first in line on this lien. So if you still have a mortgage on your house, you will need to contact the mortgage company so that the state's lien will be first, and then the mortgage company will be in what we call second place. The interest is due when you no longer live at the property, and you do retain the right to prepay this loan or this lien at any point in time, but it does have to be paid at the point in time when you no longer live at the property. You can apply between January 1 and April 1, and you apply basically with the county. So you apply. In the first qualification, in addition to age, is that your previous year's taxes have to be paid in full. Now, if you applied last year in 2022 for a deferral, and now you're applying again for a 23 deferral, that's okay. You can do that. They roll over. But if you owe your 22 taxes, you will not be able to qualify for the 23 taxes to have them rolled over. You also cannot have a reverse mortgage because the reverse mortgages insist that they have to be in first place on the title to your home should you when your home sells. So the reverse mortgage says we have to be in first place. The state says we have to be in first place on this mortgage, and we've never been able to get that ironed out. The value of all of the liens, mortgages, and deeds of trust has to be less than or equal to 75% of the assessed market value. So the city or the county, actually it's the county, not the city, the county determines that your house is worth a certain amount of money. That is called the market value. If you look at your tax statement, you will see that number. So let's say that the state or the county decides that your house is worth $400,000. If you have a $350,000 loan on your property, you will have exceeded the 75%, and you would not be able to do a reverse mortgage, or I mean a tax lien, if my math is correct. If you own your home free and clear, or you only have, like, say, $50,000 or $100,000 on your mortgage, then you would definitely qualify. The one thing that they have changed over the last couple of years is that you do have to apply for this online at this website at the Colorado Department of Revenue. If anyone has difficulty applying, we suggest that you consider doing two things. One is go to your local library and see if the librarians can help you fill out or get into this website and you can fill it out. Or if you want to give our office a call, you are certainly welcome to do that as well, and somebody can probably help you. If you have questions about this, you should call the Colorado Department of Revenue at 833-634-2513. Or you can send an email to COTREASPROPTAX, which basically is shortened for Colorado Property Tax, at state.co.us. So next we'll cover a few of the frequently asked questions. Sometimes we receive questions around, if I live in a mobile home, can I qualify for the property tax deferral? And the answer is yes. And the way that this program works is you have to apply by April 1 of this year if you want to take advantage of this. And then by May 1, the state of Colorado will pay your property taxes to the county treasurer in the county where you live, and then they will file the appropriate lien on your house with the county clerk and recorder. Do you have to reapply? No. So if, for example, you decided that you needed to use the property tax deferral for 2023 to pay those taxes in 2024, but then in 2024 you got a windfall or something and you were able to pay your 2024 taxes in 25, but then in 25 you needed help paying those taxes that are due in 26, you could qualify again for the deferral in 26 to pay the 25 taxes. So they do roll forward. You don't have to worry about doing anything once you make the initial application and you get approved. Do you have to repay the deferral? And the answer is yes. And there are two things that will trigger payment. One is that if you are no longer living in the property, and this could be like if the property is sold. Now, if you continue to own the property and you go, say, to an assisted living or a nursing home, you don't have to pay this until you no longer live in the assisted living or the nursing home. So you can move out for medical reasons. And then the other reason you might have to pay the deferral is if you actually move your mobile home. So let's say that you are living at and have your mobile home parked at 123 Chase Street, and you move your mobile home to 456 Clown Street or something, then you would have to pay the deferral when you move. If you are married and your spouse passes away and you continue to live in the property as your primary residence, then the deferral continues. Similar to the senior homestead exemption, if your spouse passes away, then you can continue the senior homestead exemption if you still live in the property. If you have other questions, when your spouse dies, you should call the state deferral program. That number is 303-866-5327. Please, if you are in this situation, update your records, but the deferral will continue. Can you make payments? Yes, you can make payments. And a lot of people like to do that. And the reason they like to do that is that they're able then to pay that down and they don't owe the interest. Similarly, what we find sometimes is people could have even paid their property taxes if they would have been able to make monthly payments. It's coming up with that large sum, either in 2 payments in February and June, or a single payment in April that they're not able to meet. Make sure if you are sending in payments that you include the number off of the loan as well as the name and the property address. If you're paying off the loan, also include your own name and the address once it's paid off where you would like the release of the lien documents sent. So those should be sent to your legal address because the clerk and recorder then will need to send that information once the lien has been satisfied. So that's all I have about that program. I do want to mention for those of you who live in Colorado, if you are a Colorado resident, we would highly encourage you to consider applying for the Tabor refund. The Tabor refund is this year $800 flat amount to every taxpayer 18 years of age and over. If you live in your own, I'm sorry, if you worked or had wages, you will have to file the regular income tax with the federal and state government. If you did not work, you may find that you would be able to simply file the short form, which is the DR0104EZ. And that form asks for much less information than the regular state income tax form. You do have to apply by April 15th of 2024 to qualify for that program. If you would use that EZ form if you make less than about $25,000 per year from all sources except wages. If you make between $18,000 and $25,000, use the DR form. If you make less than $18,000 as a single person, then you should file the PTC 104. And on that form, you would get the PTC 104 rebate as well as the Tabor refund. Again, if you need help with either of those those forms or more information, visit our website at www.senioranswers.org, or you can also call 303-333-3482, and we'll be glad to help you. The Society has a number of programs that we can help with. We provide grants for vision, hearing, and dental services. We can assign you a telephone buddy. That program also, if you live in the city and county of Denver, we can do mental health counseling. We do some classes and programming on advanced care planning, helping people figure out what they would like to do at end of life. We do a holiday basket program at Christmas and Hanukkah. We do Medicare and Medicaid counseling. We also have a a Colorado-based housing and home care locator, and we can assist with benefits counseling. We also do education and advocacy. So our Salute to Seniors for 2024 will be on August the 24th at the Greek Event Center in Denver. We will do a online Zoom salute on Sunday, August the 25th. More information will be forthcoming soon. We also have some information available on multi-generational family housing and supports. Our senior resource guidebook, about 10,000 copies, have been distributed to libraries throughout the state. We do educational programs for Medicare Monday between October 15th and December 7th, and come to a number of communities throughout Colorado. Our website is at senioranswers.org. We do a newsletter 3 times a year. If you would like to be added to that newsletter list, please let us know. That's a direct mail print copy. You can visit us at our YouTube channel. Most of our services are available online, our programs are available at the YouTube channel, and we have some capacity to help with people who are of Spanish-speaking language and do some special outreach for Latino programming. With that, I will close for this afternoon. If you have any questions, please let us know. Again, thank you for attending, and with this, I'll close off today's presentation.